All right. The president announcing new tariff rates on 14 different countries after failing to come to a trade agreement by this week's July 9th White House deadline. This is what it's going to be. The new tariffs go into effect August 1. That's a pretty firm day, we understand. The White House says that no extensions will be granted at this point. Japan and South Korea hit with a 25% tariff. You can see South Africa, which the president not too fond of that government. Also, Bosnia hit with a 30% tariff. There are many others on the list. A lot of them Southeast Asian nations produce a lot of things. Trump talking tariffs at a very long televised cabinet meeting this afternoon. Take a listen to that.
August 1st, they pay. And everybody pays. Everybody has to pay. And the incentive is that they have the right to deal in the United States. If they don't want to, they don't have to pay, and they don't have to deal here. Our country was the wealthiest, proportionately the wealthiest, from 1870 to 1913. It was an all-tariff country. It's about time the United States of America started collecting money from countries that were ripping us off, and laughing behind our back at how stupid we were.
All right, Howard Lutnick is the Commerce Secretary and joins us now from the White House. Sir, good to have you back on. I want to start with, just kind of for our audience, most Americans, especially our audience, a bit zoned out on the tariffs at this point, not watching CNBC every day. It's been a lot. There's been a lot of movement on this. What should the average person, that's not fully engaged in the finance markets know about where we're at right now with these tariffs?
Okay, so the president is setting the rates of tariffs for the top 30 or 40 countries individually, and he's sending out letters. Now, those tariff rates are depending on how open that country's been about opening their markets. We have a $1.2 trillion trade deficit with the rest of the world, and the president knows if we fix that, that means our farmers, our ranchers, our fishermen, our entrepreneurs can sell more to those economies, and so he's trying to open those markets, or they pay here. So what you're seeing is it's a balancing between how much have they offered us and what the president thinks is the fair rate given their deficit with us. And he's balancing those, and we're doing that between now and August 1st. Those rates will be set, and then we start collecting more money. Right now we're collecting $30 billion a month, but that number's going up on August 1st.
$30 billion a month. And I mean, obviously this is, when you talk about the deficits, I really do think people get that. And I think nobody likes to think their country's kind of getting screwed over in these trade deals. I think that kind of messaging really works for people. And you're saying $30 billion a month in revenue from the tariffs thus far, and that number should go up. There was so much concern from the fiscal hawks about the big, beautiful bill. How much revenue are we talking about to offset some of those concerns?
Well, you got to remember, there's like a 1-2 punch in the big, beautiful bill. You have these tariffs, right? And the companies who don't want to pay the tariff, they got to build in America. And in the new bill, right, they had accelerated depreciation, right? So what happens is these people can build their factories now and get a tax break if they build right now. So the president's got $10 trillion of committed factories. That's going to be millions of construction workers, millions of workers operating these factories. I mean, really, really good growth is coming. Right now.
Right. China, obviously, I know how important the European Union is. China, I think, is probably the toughest bargain to make because it's an adversarial nation to begin with. There was talk of a minerals deal, I guess, a few weeks ago. What we haven't heard are specifics about. We've talked a lot on the show about intellectual property theft, about what the fentanyl that they send to this country has done. Are those going to be, are we going to crack down on that with whatever kind of deal this China deal looks like? Are we going to stand in the way of the horrific things that country does to ours?
Basically, what we've done is we've settled China for now, meaning China's paying us 30% on everything, plus an additional 25% from President Trump's first term on about 50% of the Chinese market. So 50% of the Chinese market is paying us 55%, and the other half is paying us 30%. We resolved things with respect to the magnets, and we took off our countermeasures. So we've got a nice balanced relationship for today with China. And then Secretary Bessent, Ambassador Greer, and myself are going over in mid-August, and we're going to meet with our counterparties, and we're going to start the bigger conversation on bigger trade deals.
Bigger trade deals, and I assume that will include intellectual property theft, these bigger issues.
It will. Everything's going to be on the table. As we talk about the bigger topic, everything's going to be on the table. But that starts, and that's going to be a longer process. But for now, right, they're charging us 10%, and we're charging them 30% on, or 55%. So remember, they have a huge trade deficit with us. They accept that. And obviously, where the model is now is only could be created by President Trump.
And just real quick before I let you go, Jerome Powell leaving rates where they are. I know it's driving the White House crazy. It's driving you crazy as well. He keeps saying that he's worried about inflation coming from what you guys are trying to do with these trade deals. Where do you see this now?
Okay, everybody was worried before April 2nd, but what did we do? We put on 10% on the whole world and an additional 30% on China. And how much inflation is there? Answer, none. America's getting over $30 billion a month, and there is no inflation. So Jay Powell is wrong. He's too late. He's been wrong. Our rates are the 34th highest, and when we're the best credit and the best economy in the world, he's causing us hundreds of billions of dollars a year on our deficit in the United States. He's got to change, and he's got to go.
Secretary Lutnick, good to see you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Great to see you.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmidt tonight on Newsmax.